Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is Five Rounds with Eddie and Nick, brought to you by CrossOnesMMA.com. I am your host, Eddie Law. With me, as always, Nick Pilecki, straight out of Texas. How you doing, man?
What's going on, Eddie?
Same stuff, man. Same stuff, not different. Okay, different days, different stuff. I want to say. I don't know how you say that. I don't like that saying. I really don't. I'm gonna come up with something different. I'm gonna come up with something different. I'm gonna coin a new term. I don't know what it'll be yet, but it'll be something. Anyway, let's get right into the show here. UFC New Orleans went down last Saturday. Look, man, it was an awesome card. I missed it live. I had to catch the replay, obviously, on Sunday. But, I mean, overall, out of the 12 fights, 10 of them were finishes. We only had 2 decisions. And then the main card was all finishes. 5 out of the 6 finishes were first-round finishes. A very quick but very entertaining card. I was glad I was able to catch the replay. For the overall event, what did you think of it?
Everyone was just crapping on the card. Everyone's saying that wasn't an entertaining card, that those are actually the most entertaining cards because those are the people that don't care. They go out and they put on a show, and this was one of the reasons why. Like you said, 10 out of the 12 fights were finishes, and the whole main card was finishes. It was a great night of fights for me.
Yeah, no, I agree completely. And again, just like you said, it was always those cards. It's almost always those cards that don't look like they're going to be anything that end up being the most entertaining ones of the year. In fact, it easily for me beats out quite a few pay-per-views that I've seen before.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the entire card here. On the Fight Pass prelims, the early prelims, Jose Quiñones Teco beats Leonardo Morales via submission in the first round. Then Jake Collier, I thought it was Collier, it's Collier. Jake Collier beats Ricardo Abreu, via decision. Moving on to the Fox Sports 1 prelims. Now, this was a fun finish. I enjoy finishes like this because it was a good fight. It was pretty even overall. But Joe Proctor catches Justin Edwards and puts him to sleep at the end with the guillotine choke. It was locked in. You knew it. You were expecting the tap until Edwards' body flopped down like a fish, and then you were like, oh shit, that dude's asleep. So definitely a nice little finish there. What do you think of Joe Proctor?
Proctor's dangerous, man. It just showing that he doesn't care. You're not tapping, he's going to keep that in, and he's going to choke you out if you want to be the idiot not tapping. And he's dangerous on the ground. He's also dangerous on the feet. Dangerous standing. The whole fight he was striking and catching him with good punches. So I like Joey Proctor.
Yeah, Joe Proctor is one of those guys that he's been kind of up and down in his UFC career, and his career overall, but his UFC career. And look, it's a nice finish for him. Hopefully, it gets him a bigger name to take on, and maybe he'll pull off some kind of upset and get himself in contention in the next year or two. I think he might be like in his mid-20s, maybe late 20s. I'm not sure, but still, he's got plenty of time. After that, Chris Wade wins a decision over Christos Giagos, and then the hero Brian Ebersol loses to Omari Akhmadov at the buzzer via TKO, and then retires. Man, what do you think of this fight?
What was it? What is he? 51-17.
He has an amazing amount of fights.
Yeah, and let me actually pull that up. 51-17. Yes, I was right. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's time to retire, man. He's an entertaining fighter with the hero on his chest and everything like that. It's cool and everything, but getting beat at the buzzer by knees, it's just he's dwindling down after all those fights. I think it's a good call for him to call it quits.
Yeah, and again, so many fights, all that damage he's taken in his career, and but it sucks that I'm sure he knew he was going to retire before this fight even went down. Mm-hmm. But it just sucks to see a guy go out on a loss. You always hope that that a fighter that's been fighting this long somehow finds a way to leave on a win. All right, after that, the last in the main, the feature prelims, what they're calling it now. Sean Jordan knocks Derek Lewis out with a hook kick, basically. Well, he hurts him with a hook kick that finishes him on the ground. First of all, I didn't know Sean Jordan could pull off a hook kick. I thought for sure he's just a fat dude that could just throw hands. Then I remembered, or at least Aaron Robbins last night on Keyboard Warriors reminded me that he is that heavyweight that does flips in the cage. So I guess I shouldn't be that surprised. But I was surprised to see a hook kick in that fight put Derek Lewis on his ass and have Sean Jordan jump all over him. And the ref had to save Derek Lewis. What do you think of that fight?
You rarely see hook kicks in the UFC or in MMA fights in general. It's just a weird kick to throw, and especially having a heavyweight throw a hook kick and get the knockout for it. That was incredible. I don't understand it. Like you said, he's athletic. He's very athletic for a heavyweight. He does backflips after every one of his fights. He's pushing probably after the fight around 300 pounds, and he's doing backflips. So, hey, he's Very, very athletic for him. And then it sucks for Derek Lewis. I like Derek Lewis. He's from Houston. He's a black beast, but it's time to change that nickname because this is the second time he got knocked out in, I think, a year span.
You got knocked out by a white dude too, man. You got to come up with a different nickname at this point, just like you were saying. But this is actually a rematch from a fight back in 2010. They had that Lewis ended up winning via decision. So Sean Jordan gets that loss back on his record. He gets that fight back on his record. All right. After them, we hit the main card. First fight on the main card. Francisco Rivera knocks Alex Caceres out. Now here is where it got a little bit weird for me because he hurts him. He hurts him real bad, takes him down, starts beating him up on the ground. And the ref comes in, and to me, it looked like it might have been a little bit of an early stoppage. What do you think of that?
I don't think it was early. He was very hurt. He was hurt bad. Yeah, he had his hands up a little bit, trying to protect himself, but he was getting caught right down the middle, and he was rocked. And it looked like he was how his head started hitting the canvas and everything. So good job, Dan Mergliotta. I think that was a great call on his part. And even though Alex was like, wait, what are you doing? It took him so long to even stand up. Mm-hmm. He was rocked. He was done. I got to agree with the referee on that call.
All right. Yeah, I mean, that completely makes sense, too. But here's the thing. Every fighter comes up. When any fighter gets knocked out, they always come up like, oh, I'm fine. Sometimes they'll even try to wrestle the freaking ref. So, yeah, and it's such a Bruce Leroy. I'm a big fan of his, and I hope he's able to bounce back, get some more wins. But that's 3 losses in a row. In the UFC, that's chopping block time. Yeah. So maybe we'll get one more.
No, I like Bruce Leroy. He's that awkward fighter. He's weird. He doesn't even look like he should be a fighter. He's super skinny. Doesn't look like he have an ounce of muscle on him, but he knocks people out. He's very quick. He's very fast with his hands, and I like him. So hopefully he can get a win coming up next.
Definitely. All right, moving on to another finish, and an unexpected finish. First of all, because these guys are I think they're bantamweights. Anthony Burchak knocks out Joe Soto. Anthony Burchak, a guy that we've been able to speak to before, and interviewed him back before he fought Ian Entwistle, where he got heel hooked. This time comes in very aggressive. He almost gets caught in a heel hook again. Joe Soto watched that last fight, and Burchak defended perfectly. Ends up putting Joe Soto to sleep. I think it was an uppercut. I don't remember exactly, but he hurts him, drops him, and Joe Soto, a guy that's fought for the title before, not because he earned it, honestly, but because he stepped in for Renan Barão against T.J. Dillashaw, put on a decent show, aka a sparring session with T.J. But overall, Burchak looking really good, very, very emotional after the fight, pretty much in tears. Mm-hmm. He's a guy that talked a lot before the fight against Ian Entwistle, wasn't able to even amount on offense against Ian, and able to finish the guy just fought for the title not too long ago in Joe Soto. So a big win for Anthony Burchak. What do you think of that fight?
It sucks for Joe Soto. I like Joe Soto. Even though he got that title shot handed to him, I like him. He stepped up to the plate, 24 hours notice, and did it. And I thought he would try to make a name for himself in this fight and actually get the win. But Anthony Burchak came to the fight. He didn't care. He wants to make a name for himself. Hey, Joe Soto already got the title shot. It's my turn. Let me make a name for myself. And that's exactly what he did. And I was really impressed with that.
Yeah, I remember actually talking to Burchak when I was able to speak to him. He actually told me that he asked for that title shot. He asked for that shot against TJ when they heard about Renan Barão. And when Joe Silva hit him up, his phone was ringing and it said Joe Silva on there. He said he expected Joe Silva to say, hey, okay, you're fighting TJ. Instead, he told him, hey, you know what? You're not going to fight tonight. They're going to give Joe Soto the fight. He was very upset by that because he's that close. But I personally don't think he beats T.J. Dillashaw today, tomorrow, ever. But that's just my opinion. So nice win for Anthony Burchak here. Moving on here, Brian Ortega knocks out Thiago Tavares. Did you get to see this fight? Because I didn't.
I did not. I was actually changing venues. I was moving from work to a Mexican restaurant to go watch the fights.
Oh, a lot of people were telling me, who the fuck's Brian Ortega? So I'm like, it's the same question. Anyway, whatever, he gets the win. And yeah, moving on to actually a really fun finish for me, or that I enjoyed. Dustin Poirier knocks Yancy Medeiros out multiple times. Okay, multiple times he's hurting this dude. And it sucks because Medeiros is a bad motherfucker, but Dustin Poirier wants to show that the McGregor fight isn't he didn't do his best. And he came in ready to throw down in this fight.
Yeah, no, he did. And like you said, multiple times. He was out cold multiple times. Um, Poirier's showing that, hey, yeah, McGregor beat me, but I'm coming back, and I want to see him fight McGregor again. I like him; he's a good fighter, he's very very strong, very smart fighter. But I think that first McGregor fight, he was too emotional in that fight. And I think if he could beat Conor McGregor. I'm just saying that now.
Maybe I think it depends. It's not. I mean, this was a lightweight fight. I think. Yeah. So it might be the fact that he hasn't had to cut weight to or cut weight as bad to make 155 instead of 145. But still, really, really nice little performance from Dustin Poirier here. I don't think he could fight for the title at 155. I think most of the top guys were snuffing pretty bad. But maybe a move back to 145 after one more 155 fight would be ideal for him. All right, moving on here. Excuse me, to the co-main event, which got really weird at the end of it. Ben Rothwell submits Matt Mitrione in the first round via like a guillotine type of finish. Here's the weird thing about it. First of all, Matt Mitrione gets put in this. Matt Mitrione shoots for a takedown. That was a mistake because he was doing pretty well on the feet. He was moving around pretty light on his feet for a heavyweight. Landing the shots that he wanted. Then he shoots for the takedown. Basically misses the shot, misses the takedown completely, gets taken down, or basically gets put in the guillotine choke, and was in the choke, or maybe not, I don't even know if he was in the choke, but he was in the choke-ish for seconds before he tapped. I mean seconds. It looked to me like he panicked, because I don't think the choke was in. I mean, it might have been a little bit of pain, but nothing that he couldn't handle. I don't think. But by the look on his face, it looked like he panicked like hell and tapped quickly. What do you think of that fight?
It was a weird fight for me. I can see what Matt Mitrione was trying to do, trying to keep him guessing, trying to take him down, get back up. But when he took him down, he came up with his neck straight up. That's jiu-jitsu 101 or even wrestling 101. You don't do that. And then you got caught in that modified guillotine. Now, with the tap, I think he was hurt. You could see the pain in his face when he got caught and how he fell. I don't know. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't, but I think it was a lot of pain. The way he tapped, when he tapped him with both hands, it looked like he was struggling. He couldn't breathe or anything like that. So I don't think he just like babied out of it, like, oh no, panicked and tapped. But he could have. We don't know. But I would like to hear it from Matt Mitrione to see what he has to say. But I want to talk about the post-fight interview with
Let's hold on to that after we talk about the rest of the card. Because that
right.
in its own was a what the fuck moment, really. Actually, I know we did top 5 what the fuck moments. That's one of them right there. I should have been number 1. As you said, it just took over for me. All right, then let's get right to it. Main event, Tim Boesch gets just knocked the fuck out real bad by Dan Henderson. I was actually out of town. I wasn't able to watch the card live. Like I said before, I had to watch a replay. And the only reason I knew something crazy had happened is because you were on the chat on Facebook with me, you, Jesse, and Don, the Crossbones guys. And all I saw was H-bomb in capital letters. That's how I knew Dan Henderson had struck again. I'll let you go ahead and talk about that fight, man, because you said it sounds like you were super excited when it went down.
I actually thought Dan Henderson was going to lose. I'm sitting at the this is how not important the card was to me. Like I was going to watch it either way. I was at a Mexican restaurant watching the fight, and when Dan Henderson landed the H-bomb and just totally rocked Tim Boesch, it was a shock. He's 44 years old. He shouldn't be doing this. He shouldn't be that guy knocking people out, but he is. He's proven everyone wrong. He's the ultimate underdog in the fight, and he gets dropped. It totally blew my mind. I thought that he wouldn't be able to do that. But hey, we can't count out Dan Henderson ever. We've seen it in the past before. We've seen it this weekend. It's just, do I think he'll move up in the rankings and get a title shot anytime soon? No, not anytime soon. I don't even think he will, but you can't count him out, man. You just can't count him out. He has to be the modern day Captain America. I know a lot of people would say like Randy Couture was Captain America. No, this guy is for real the guy that's in the fight, that shouldn't be in the fight, but is still knocking people out. Yeah,
so, I mean, Dan Henderson, just like you were saying, you cannot count out ever. So, and look, he's a guy who's basically down on one technique. He just holds that right hand back, just waiting and waiting and waiting. If he lands it, that shit's over. So, just like we were talking before, overall, great card. And let me ask you something real quick. Tim Kennedy, especially after that fight, has been asking for Dan Henderson. at a fight for the troops event. What do you think of that?
Ooh. See, I would like that. Fight for the Troops will be an awesome. That would be a good card for Tim Kennedy and for Dan Henderson. But I think Dan Henderson would knock him out unless Tim Kennedy can take him down and control him. What people should be doing, but no, they stand with Dan Henderson and get caught. So I think that's exactly what Tim Kennedy would do, especially in front of his troops, trying to get an impressive win in front of his people. Him being a vet himself, I think he would try to stand and bang with them and try to make it an entertaining fight for his troops, but I think he might get caught. You never know.
Yeah, I mean, look, I would agree with that exact assessment. Tim Kennedy can take him down to the ground, and but Dan Henderson is not the wrestler he used to be. We saw what DC did to him, and a really, really just awful performance for Dan. But maybe the fight against Tim Kennedy, you're right. If he lands that right hand, and Tim Kennedy knows that right hand is there, we can get another classic Dan Henderson finish. All right, moving on here. And you hinted at it, and we had to talk about it because it was embarrassingly awkward for anybody that loves MMA, honestly. For anyone that loves MMA, it was a little bit awkward and a little bit embarrassing. For everybody that's a wrestling fan, they love the shit out of this. Ben Rothwell, given this really just awkwardly weird post-fight interview, and then he ends it with this maniacal laugh. And he does this stupid arm thing where he puts his arm up, and that's all weird shit. And then he starts walking away. John Anik brings him back, and the guy breaks character, and he answers normally. First of all, I haven't been a pro wrestling fan since The Rock retired the first time years ago. I stopped because it was no longer funny. The only reason I watched it because that dude's funny as hell. But I know better. You don't break character, man. You just don't. Just like Aaron Robbins pointed out last night, you don't break character if you're Conor McGregor, you don't break character if you're Chael Sonnen, but you broke character as Ben Rothwell, trying to be the evil guy and whatnot and laugh like that, and you broke character and answer questions. What was your what do you think you saw that shit?
Okay, so I'll start off saying I loved it. I was so ready. I was waiting for someone to actually make a name for himself, and Ben Rothwell was like, all right, I need to make a name for myself. I want the number one contender. He called out whoever the number one contender is and wants that fight. Good job. Good job, Ben, marketing yourself. Good job. You're learning from Conor, you're learning from Chael, you're learning from the others. But when you did break character, when John Anik's like, hey, can I ask you about the fight? And he's like, wait, what did you say? No, that's when you walk away. You're like, I don't have time for you, peasant, and walk away. That's all you had to do. Just don't break character. And you might have got a number one contender spot there, or title shot, or not a title shot, to fight the number one contender. You might have gotten it, but no, you didn't. You broke character. And not even just the John Anik interview, there was an interview after that he went to the back and he broke character again. So don't break character. It was weird. It was very embarrassing for himself, that little arm thing and the little weird ass laugh that he did. But if you want to make a name for yourself, you did right there until you broke character.
Yeah, and look, I don't care for these kind of things, with pro wrestling antics in MMA, because to me it cheapens not the sport itself, but it cheapens the event, the presentation a little bit. This is my opinion. I'm with you. I love when Chael Sonnen talks shit. I loved when Conor McGregor talked shit. It was fun. If Ben Rothwell had kept character and not broken it and made obvious that it was total bullshit, I might have been. I probably would have been like, okay, that was weird, but hey, why not? Everyone else is doing it. When he broke character and he was nerdy on the way back, started answering questions with a regular voice, I was just like, okay, so he's full of shit. That whole program was bullshit. I don't care anymore. You're like, you lied to the audience. Go away. But now he wants to fight Andrei Arlovski for the number one contender spot. First of all, you think that fight even gets made? And does Ben Rothwell have a chance against Andrei Arlovski?
I hope it gets made, because who else are you going to give Andrei Arlovski to get a title shot? Like, I don't think there's any heavyweight that you can give Andrei. But yeah, no, give him a challenge. If he wants to fight the best, let him fight one of the best. And Andrei's quote unquote one of the best now, since he knocked out what kind of thing? Travis Brown, right?
Yeah.
Brown. Yeah. Since he knocked out Travis Brown. So yeah, give him that fight. You want to make a name for yourself, knock out the first ever UFC heavyweight champion. Let's see.
No, why not? Here's the thing about that fight is I don't think it gets made. I think Andrei Arlovsky is going to fight somebody else for number one contender. But Andrei Arlovsky is in Mexico, or he's on his way to Mexico to watch the fight. So my theory is that if someone gets hurt the night before or something like that, or doesn't make weight, he's going to step in and fight. Who knows? He might be the replacement fighter. Look, it's just theory, it's bullshit, but still.
Are you really jinxing the card already?
I'm taking the other. Right. I'm taking the other way on it. I'm gonna keep talking about it being just fucked and destroyed because someone's gonna get hurt before the fight even goes down. that it fights that jinx and everyone's healthy and fights. That's what I'm hoping for.
That works.
But anyway, yeah, who knows if it even be possible. But the other thing he did too is he basically accused Kane of using performance enhancing drugs. And let me read some of the freaking quote because it was ridiculous because I don't even think he knew what he was saying. His quote on the PEDs, he went on to the Honorable Helwani show on Monday. He said, this is the quote he gave, quote, "Let's see what happens after July 1st when the advanced testing starts kicking in. Let's see if he, Kane, is still fighting the same way he has. I doubt it. I'm not implying anything. What I'm just saying, I don't believe every division is going to look the same after July 1st. If anyone takes offense to that, maybe they ought to look at themselves and look at their problems." By the way, Ben Rothwell is a former admitted TRT user. So that whole thing was ridiculous. I don't even know if you understood what I said. I didn't understand what I said. I don't understand what I just read. And I read it repeatedly, and I listened to the interview the whole time. Ben Rothwell, just stop, son. Stop. It's okay. But do you for one second believe Cain Velasquez is on PEDs?
I believe anyone's possible being on PEDs.
I'm sorry, have you seen Cain Velasquez, that flabby bastard?
Have you seen Anderson Silva? He didn't look like he was on PEDs.
Yeah, flabby.
Well, he didn't look like he was on PEDs either.
That's very true. That's a good point.
So I don't care. Everyone, like we said in the past, I think everyone can be using. Everyone. Do I think Kane is? No. He's injured way too much. Maybe he is because he's injured way too much and he wants to find a loophole. But I actually don't think he is. I think he's one of the true fighters that's like, no, this is me. That's why I'm injured all the time because I beat up my body. But no, I don't think it. No, he's fine.
Yeah, I don't think he's dirty at all. So anyway, let's move on to someone that is dirty and did get caught. Mike Richmond from Bellator, who just fought Eduardo Duante. What is his name? Dantas. Sorry, Dantas. Eduardo Dantas at Bellator 137. First of all, that card had missing weight everywhere. Just everybody missed weight. Freaking Richmond comes in, misses it by 3 pounds, fights, loses to Dantas, who was a former champion, and then gets caught for steroids, and then comes out on Facebook and basically admits it. He admitted the whole thing. Now he's suspended 2 years, fined $2,500. He's 29 years old. Does he come back to MMA?
No. 29 years old, suspended 2 years. There's 2 years out of your window. You won't train. You won't be scheduled to fight, and then you have to wait another 4 to 6 months for another fight. No, I think maybe he'll come back, but I highly doubt it. This is gonna be we're gonna see this a lot with some fighters that this new drug policy in the UFC is happening. Yeah, it's Bellator, but if they're trying to mirror that 2-year suspension, and UFC is going to do it, I think we're going to see a lot of fighters not coming back in the mixed martial arts game.
Yeah, especially once they get caught. I mean, at 29 years old, yeah, he comes back at 31. 2 years is a long time to not be able to compete. So, yeah, sucks for him. But, I mean, look, again, a little bit of credit to him for admitting that he did it. That wasn't too crazy.
Maybe they'll give him a less since he admitted it and he didn't fight it. But I don't know. I doubt it.
Yeah, and do you think Bellator and World Series of Fighting and other organizations are going to follow UFC's lead and actually start testing fighters? Because we'll talk about Ken Shamrock. Actually, are we going to talk about Ken Shamrock? No, we're not going to talk about Ken Shamrock. Let's talk about Ken Shamrock right now. Did you see the photo he put up on Twitter?
Yes. If they're not going to follow that model, if they want that fight to happen, if they want him to fight Kimbo Slice, they're not going to even look at Ken Shamrock. If you've seen the picture, if you haven't seen the picture, Google it right now. He looks ripped. I don't know if you're trying to pull it up, Eddie, or not, but
oh no, I can't pull it up right now.
Okay, he looks scary, dude. For what, 50, 56, 51? Yeah, no, he looks like a 28-year-old ripped. No, if they want to follow the path of the UFC and the testing, then Ken Shamrock already failed just breathing on the test. So.
Yeah, dude, it looks bad. And look, I think I read an article today on MMA Junkie where they're talking about Kimbo Slice. Said he's been tested multiple times coming up to this fight. I didn't read one thing saying Ken Shamrock's been tested a few times. And maybe he has, maybe he hasn't. But he actually went on his Twitter and defended himself because I guarantee everyone's been dogging him about, you're on roids, dude. And he said that he's 213 pounds. Well, he looks pretty light, but I don't think he's 213. But and he said his opponent is 240 pounds in Kimbo Slice. He said he doesn't have to use PEDs or drugs or anything to gain weight. That he's gonna fight. He's just gonna be himself, and that he's clean. Basically, he's implying that he's clean. I don't believe it. Look, man, there's no way you're 50-some years old. Right? Anderson Silva's trainer is like 60-some years old, and he's ripped to shreds. Okay, look, if you're not fighting, you're not doing anything with your job, stops you from taking that kind of stuff. Go for it, man. I think if you're a regular person, I think roids should be completely legal. I think steroids should be legal and available to everybody. Why? To everybody that's not a professional athlete. Okay, because we're not out here competing for shit. You know what I'm saying? But that's a very small part of what I think about steroids. And again, it's a legality issue or legal issue as far as it being allowed or not. But we can get into that some other time on the ULI or something like that. All right, moving on here. Let's talk UFC 188 going on this weekend. Headlined by interim heavyweight champion Fabricio Verdum trying to unify the belt against the real champion in Cain Velasquez, who's coming off a 3-year layoff. So it's going to be, overall, the card looks pretty good on paper. Let's run down real quick. Early Fight Pass prelims begin at 6:30 p.m. Eastern time, 3:30 Pacific. Albert Tumanov, one of those scary Russian dudes, taking on Andrew Todhunter. After that, one of the Mexican fighters that was on Tough Latin America, Gabriel Benitez taking on Clay Collard. After that, another Mexican fighter, Augusto Montano, against Cathal Pendred. Real quick, Cathal Pendred says that he's shocked he's not on the UFC 188 card, main card. Are you?
No.
Exactly. I don't give a shit about Cathal Pendred, let's be honest.
I'll just be honest about the whole card. There's only, up until the prelims, there's like 1, 2, 3 fighters that I really care about, and he's not one of them.
Yeah, me neither. He's shocked he's not on the main card. I'm like, why? Why are you? No, don't be shocked. If he's not fun.
The only person that should be shocked in my Clay Cotter, maybe he should be on the prelims, not the Fight Pass prelims. Yeah. Other than that, no. Everyone that's on the Fight Pass prelims and the FX prelims should stay there.
All right, completely agree. All right, moving on here on the FX prelims. It's not Fox Sports 1 this time. It's Fox. Fox FX. What is it? Yeah, this is between FX. FX is the movie channel, I think, for them, or something like that. So on FX prelims, Francisco Trevino taking on Johnny Case, and then we have Patrick Williams taking on another Mexican, Alejandro Perez, who is his nickname is Diablito. He's a bad motherfucker, man. I love watching this dude fight. Then after that, Efrain Escudero taking on Drew Dober, and then rounding out the prelims is a guy that's being called a possible contender, if not a real contender, if a win win this weekend to DJ's title at 125, and Henry Cejudo taking on Chico Camus. What do you think of this fight, and do you think Cejudo's going to get a title shot if he wins?
I think Cejudo wins, but I don't think he gets a title shot after. I think that's going to go to John Dotson. And then maybe we can talk about this. Maybe you put Cejudo against Joseph Benavidez to get a title shot. So maybe Joey needs to fight one more fight to even get that third chance at DJ or a title shot. But no, not after this fight. Unless he completely shocks me and shocks the whole world. Then, but I doubt it.
I mean, it depends. Jacare just got skipped over by Luke Rockhold. Luke Rockhold put on, but given Luke Rockhold did beat the shit out of Lyoto Machida, pretty nasty. So
I call BS on that one too, but we'll talk about that later.
Well, no, talk about it now. What do you mean no?
No, Jacare should get the title shot. I'm just saying. Yes, Luke Rockhold. You have the white boy versus white boy fight. You need the Brazilian killer fighting Brazilians. Okay,
here's the thing. I'll tell you what's happening. First of all, I think Jacare is injured, if I remember correctly. So either way, he wasn't gonna get the fight. But
Luke Rockhold.
There you go. But even if he wasn't hurt, all right, no, fuck that. Luke Rockhold versus Weidman is way more exciting.
No, I think the Gator beats. I said it before. The Gator beats Weidman.
No, Weidman beats the shit out of the little Gator. First of all, that Gator shit's so stupid. When he does that, okay, someone talk to him. Tell him the people down in Gainesville want that back.
Exactly. I was going to say that. But no, Gator, I think if it touches the ground, Gator can beat Chris Weidman. Standing up, no. Chris Weidman's way too smart on standing up, but on the ground, I think Gator wins.
I don't know. It'd be interesting to see it, but I don't think we get to see it because I got Luke Rockhold taking that title, son. All right, and we'll talk about that when that card comes up. Moving on to the main card on pay-per-view, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific, kicked off by the ladies. First of all, it's a little weird that these girls on the main card, to be completely honest with you. And I'm not saying because they're women, because I love the girls, I love the ladies, but they should not be on the main card. The talent from these two girls is not main card worthy. I gotta say it. Angela Hill hasn't fought since the show ended.
Okay,
and Tisha Torres is coming off a loss, isn't she?
Yeah, she is. But Tisha Torres is that name. She was that Invicta champion. Wasn't she Invicta champion for a good year?
She's been Invicta champion for a minute, but not very long. I mean, look, and look, this is not a. I just don't think it's a good enough fight for a main card, man. If Tisha Torres keeps it, gets the takedown, Angela is in trouble. If Angela keeps it standing up, and Tisha isn't able to secure a takedown, Angela's gonna kick the shit out of her. That's all that's gonna happen. It's not gonna be a very competitive fight, in my opinion. It's gonna be one way or the other, but it's gonna be all out.
No, I think it'll be an entertaining fight. Tisha Torres was supposedly one of the people to win the strawweight championship during the tough final, other than Rose and Carla. It was those three, and then she got her redemption fight back to come in and lost it. I like Tisha Torres. Like, I do and I don't. I don't like her attitude, but I like her fighting style, and I think Tisha Torres can take this win.
Yeah, I got Angela Hill on this one. I think Tisha Torres is going to finally show her the fact that she can be exposed on the feet anyway. But we'll find out, obviously. All right, moving on here. After them, you get one of the better Mexican fighters, in my opinion, on coming out of Mexico. Obviously Mexican fighter, yeah. Yair Rodriguez taking on Charles Rosa. Charles Rosa, who we saw in Boston, I think, a couple years ago, coming in on late notice and putting on a show, losing, but putting on a really good show on the ground. Yair Rodriguez is a motherfucker on the feet, bro. So I'm hoping this stays up on the feet, and I hope my boy Yair wins the fight. What do you think of this fight overall?
Very entertaining fight. I like Charles Rosa. Like you said, he came on his last fight short notice. That Boston Strong in the Boston on the Boston card. Very entertaining. But I have to agree with you. I think he's going to get dropped, and he's going to get picked apart the whole fight.
All right, moving on here. My boy Kelvin Gastelum has forced to move to 185 because he can't cut the weight to 170. He's going to take on a beast of a guy at 185 and Nate Marquardt. Nate Marquardt sure is, suffering a little bit with late in his career. He might as well be done, in my opinion. But this is going to be a hard fight for Kelvin Gastelum because Nate Marquardt is a giant 185. And Kelvin Gastelum might just be like a normal size 185er. And I think the size is going to be a factor in this one. But it's going to be interesting to see Kelvin at 185. I want to see him at 185. He already said he's going to go back down to 170. He's just got to prove he can make the cut. But what do you think? How do you think this fight goes down? Because I'm not sure I can give Kelvin the outright win.
I'm torn between this one because I like Kelvin. I think he should stay at 185 and learn how to fight those bigger guys and end up taking them down and opposing his will. But then again, Nate Marquardt's a monster. Yeah, he's coming up near the end of his career. He's an older fighter. He's that vet, but he's still a monster. He's huge. He's a lot bigger than Kelvin. But I don't know. I got to go with Kelvin. I like Kelvin. I think he can do it, and I don't know.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. I got Kelvin too. I just don't know. I just think it's gonna be a really, really rough fight, and he's gonna have to catch Nate with something. I don't think he can win a decision over Nate. I really don't. No. But we'll find out. Obviously, it's in Mexico, and Kelvin's gonna have all the Mexican support. And moving on to a guy that gets all the Mexican support. Number 4, lightweight Gilbert Melendez taking on number 9 Eddie Alvarez. This is going to be a brawl. God, I hope it stays to be in the brawl. I hope they don't somehow, for some reason, try to make it a ground fight because they cancel each other out on the feet or something. I do have Melendez winning it via decision, but it's going to be a beast fight because Eddie Alvarez throws bombs. What do you think happens here?
It's gonna, like you said, it's gonna be a brawl. They're gonna go out. My boy from Philadelphia, Eddie Alvarez, he's a great fighter. He came up the short end of the stick his last fight, but I think it's gonna be a very entertaining fight. Gilbert Melendez he's a beast. These were quote unquote the number 1 guys outside the UFC. that were supposed to fight in the past, and it never happened, and we're finally getting it. I don't know. I don't even know who's going to win this fight. I can see Gilbert Melendez winning it by a submission or decision, but then again, I can see Eddie Alvarez winning by a decision. So I don't know. It's going to be an entertaining fight. I don't even know who to pick.
Oh, I can't wait for the fight. That's actually the second fight. I'm looking forward to that fight a lot, but I'm looking forward to the main event a lot more. I can't even talk today. The main event is what I'm waiting for. Cain Velasquez finally coming back after a long layoff due to injury against Fabricio Verdum, who is now the interim heavyweight champion. So we're going to get a unification on Saturday. The question is, who is going to get that win? I'll let you go first. Who do you think wins this one?
I don't know. This is another one I'm torn. This is why I like this card. The co-main and main, I don't know. Cain's been off for 2 years. He's been injured, and the way Verdum is fighting right now, knocking people out and still submitting people, and where he's training. If you haven't watched the embedded video, he's training in Mexico at high altitude. And he's living in he calls them the prisons. Just go out and watch it. It's sick. He's training old school, and he's been training like this for his past couple fights, and he's been coming up on top. He's a monster. But then again, Cain Velasquez is a world beater. If he lands one punch on you, your whole world goes crumbling down, and you're gonna get picked apart. I don't know. If it goes to the ground, I can say Verdum can probably submit him, but if it's standing, Cain Velasquez is going to destroy him. So I'm going to go with the champ, Cain Velasquez, even though I want to go for Verdum. I don't know.
Here's the thing. This is an unpopular an opinion people don't like from me, and you'll understand why. I don't think Fabricio Verdum has a chance. I think Cain Velasquez is going to come in and pressure the shit out of him. All right, and people are like, oh, what if he goes down and Fabricio, he's gonna get in Fabricio's guard. Fabricio's gonna do something to him. First of all, Cain Velasquez isn't getting in anybody's guard. Watch his fights. That dude hops side control, motherfucker. He's not getting in nobody's guard. Get the fuck out of here with that shit. And if he gets in his guard, he's gonna get out. He's a wrestler. He's a tough guy. Okay. Contrary to popular belief, Cain Velasquez trains jiu-jitsu a lot. Okay, chill the fuck out. The guy has ground game. Okay, so I think we're not giving Cain enough credit for being really good on the ground. But regardless of that, I think Cain Velasquez by the third round is going to be styling Fabricio so badly. Fabricio's going to be looking for a way out. He's going to be trying to look for a finish of some kind, and he's not going to get it against Cain. Cardio Cain is going to make Fabricio Verdum gas out, and I don't care how it finishes, but if I had to pick, I would say that Cain Velasquez wins via TKO, let's say fourth round, maybe fifth, but I would say fourth round. So I think Cain Velasquez is gonna show why he's the champ, and he's gonna be the champ for a while. So that's my opinion on that.
Okay, I feel like going against you now, so I'm gonna go for Verdum, just so we can fight about it during the card. I think first or second round is Verdum's opportunity to win if he can take him down and get a guillotine or get a rear naked choke. Other than that, Cain's going to destroy his life. So I'm going to go with Verdum.
All right.
Verdum wins by sub.
I agree with you on that. If Verdum's going to win, it's going to be the first 2 rounds, but he's not going to get that chance. It's going to be Cain in the fourth. Cain in the fourth or Cain decision. So let's go Cain. Get it done, son. All right, moving on to the last segment of the show. Let's not the last one. Sorry. Let's talk real quick. Anderson Silva. I completely forgot about that. Anderson Silva, the hearing has been postponed once again. Now it's supposed to be on August 7th. Sorry, people on Twitter that tweeted that we're going to talk about the top 5. We're about to in a second, but let's talk Anderson Silva real quick. Again, the Nevada State Athletic Commission hearing postponed once again. Now on August 7th. Might be postponed once again. But because that decision has not been made yet, he has withdrawn from trying out for the 2016 Olympics in Taekwondo. This is your hero, man. What do you think of this shit?
I don't care anymore. I don't care. I'm tired of this postponing shit. It's face it, take your consequence, and go home. That's all you have to do. Stop being a little baby about it. Just go get suspended. I guarantee if he drags it on anymore, they're gonna throw that 3 to 4 year ban on his ass.
I kind of hope. To be honest with you, because you got to show. I'm tired of postponements too. It's like, what are you trying to do? I mean, what evidence could you be looking for? What's the accomplishment here? Like, what's he trying to accomplish? Maybe he's trying to get people to forget about it.
Yeah, unless he has that 100% proof evidence that he thinks that he's trying to make sure it is 100% proof to provide to the athletic commission. Say it. Say, hey, look, I had this proof. I'm trying to get it 100%, and then we'll come do the hearing. But you postpone it without just saying, I just don't want to show up, basically. It's getting ridiculous. Has Nick Diaz done his yet?
I don't think so. I don't think so because that would be a huge story if that happened. Because that guy's gonna get banned possibly for life for weed. So
yeah,
yeah, it's gonna be really dumb.
no, I don't know, but yeah, I know I'm tired of it. But before we get to top 5, this was just announced. Uriah Hall stepping up to fight, stepping up for Derek Brunson, who suffered a rib injury and will be facing Christoph Choko at UFC Fight Night 69 in Berlin.
Next weekend, not this weekend, but next weekend. 2 weeks notice. Okay, Uriah Hall.
What do you think? Do you think Uriah Hall is gonna stop being? I'm gonna say it. Stop being a little freaking baby and getting too emotional and come destroy and wreck worlds like the person we know he can, or is he gonna play it safe and just toy with his prey again?
I look, man. Uriah Hall has got to be that world beater that we saw on the Tough series, on the Tough show. That guy that sent people to the hospital, the guy that fought with a broken toe. He's got to be that guy. And you're right. He came out last time he was trying to put on a show in a weird way the last time he fought. And he just couldn't pull the trigger, or just wouldn't pull the trigger on the strikes that we know he can throw. So, yeah, man, I hope he comes out crazy and lands some crazy, spinning back fist or heel hook or heel kick or whatever. But you know what? Uriah Hall is what Donald Cerrone used to be. You just don't know which Uriah Hall is going to show up.
Mm-hmm. And that sucks about it's Uriah Hall's, like we said, he's a monster. He's a world beater, but which one is going to show up? Just like we say about Cowboy, which Cowboy Cerrone is going to show up? It's the same thing. Like, they're both great fighters, just which one's going to show up that day. And I hope the world beater Uriah Hall shows up and then keeps that on for a while, because I think he could be a title contender. He could get up there, but he needs to stop. He needs to grow up.
He's one of those guys that could definitely use a sports psychologist, man, for real. Like,
exactly.
I think every athlete, especially the ones that are exceptionally talented, should speak to a sports psychologist or whatever hypnotist if he wants. Some guys use a hypnotist. It's kind of, I never seen it. I've never been through that kind of thing, but I'd love to see it. But sports psychology, I think, is one of those things that a lot of top guys should definitely look into. Hashtag John Jones, you fuck. Moving on here, and Gustafsson on top of that. I know Andrew Reed might see this, but Gustafsson needs to stop talking shit. Just stop, train, and come back. And when you fight DCC, if you can redeem yourself from that ass whooping you just took.
We didn't talk about that, did we?
Gus?
Gus versus DC? Did we talk about that last week?
I think we did, but let's talk about it again. We did, because we talked about the announcements, right?
That's right. What do you think? Honestly, what do you think about that fight?
I think DC's a bad matchup for Gus. And again, that's super unpopular, especially with Andrew Reed watching. I don't know, man. I just don't think. I think Alexander Gustafsson could use his reach really well. First of all, yeah, I do. I understand. DC against John Jones. Jones uses his reach really well. Jones was able to take DC down. Jones was able to stuff DC. Gustafsson is not John Jones. Sure, a while ago, and we're talking years now, Gustafsson was the closest guy to come to beat John Jones. Okay, he was the closest, and in fact, in my opinion, he won that fight. In my opinion, but it's been years. He hasn't fought a top guy like John Jones or even a guy like DC. Jimmy Manning was not Daniel Cormier, and then he got just knocked out by Anthony Johnson. So, I think, look, he deserves a title shot. I do think he deserves a shot, because I mean, who else are you going to give it to? Really? I mean, Bader, come on. First of all, Ryan Bader, finish somebody, anybody, but finish somebody, please. Okay? Then you can talk some shit about getting a title shot. But Gustafsson, I just think this is a bad matchup for him, man. I think DC is just too much of a pressure guy, too good wrestling, and he's going to expose Gustafsson. That's what I think is going to happen. But to be honest with you, in that fight, when that comes up, I don't care who wins, because one of those guys is going to have to fight John Jones. So if we get DC Jones 2 or Gus Jones 2, we win.
Yeah, either way we win. That's why I really don't care who wins. I kind of want to see DC Jones 2 a little tiny bit more, even though I think Gus won that fight. But Gus, I think he just faltered because he was fed Jimmy Manawa. Jimmy who, basically? Who is that? Can any casual fan say who Jimmy Manawa is? No. He was fed that easy fight. He's like, okay, cool. I just have to sit back and just easily get into a title shot, which he did. Yeah, he got destroyed by Anthony Johnson, but he got thrown into a title shot again. So I don't think he's up for the bright lights again. I think he gets beat by DC.
I think so too, but like I said, just like we were both saying, would not mind seeing either rematch at all.
Yeah.
But I think Gus Jones might be a little bigger in the people's eyes because of how that first fight went. And again, I think Gus should have been given the strap that night. I think he won that fight, but late elbows always helps, I guess.
You ever think about it? If Gus won that belt, would we see Cocaine John Jones?
Damn.
I thought about
I don't
that
know.
earlier today. I was like,
No, he's been doing coke for years, man. We talked to how should I put this without throwing names out there? We talked to sources, okay, or I talked to sources, guys that know John Jones, and the coke thing's not recent, not even very recent, not even years recent. We're talking years recent. That dude's been doing it forever. But I guess I know we've already talked that to death already. All right, moving on to the last win of the show, the top five, and today's top five. The top five heavyweights of all time, including some honorable mentions. You got those two honorable mentions, right?
yes.
All right, let's get your honorable mentions first.
All right, my honorable mention is going to be the first one's going to be Andrei Arlovski, first heavyweight champion. I really liked him back in the day. The pit bull he was that weird guy with the mouthpiece with the little fangs that everyone wanted when they first started MMA and started boxing. They bought him. That was Andrei Arlovski. I like Andrei Arlovski back in the day. I like him now too, even though he's older, but he's shown that he's still relevant. So Andrei Arlovski is my one honorable mention.
All right, I actually got a couple of them. And by the way, your boy Michael Reyes tweeting over. That's what I told Nick about Gus versus DC.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So all right, shout out to Mike here. My honorable mentions: Mark Coleman. Mark Coleman, who really should be in my top five, but I mean, look, he beat Don Fry twice, got a win over Igor Chanchin. I forgot his name. Dan Severn and Shogun Hu. He's got wins over all those guys. Finished with a 16-10 record. Definitely one of the best heavyweights of all time. He's in my honorable mentions. I got Junior Dos Santos as my other honorable mention. JDS is a guy who's a boxer. He's not a ground guy, right? I mean, we can agree with that. I mean, sure, he has his black belt in jiu-jitsu, but so do a lot of guys that stay on the feet most of the time. Let's do myself. All right, yeah. So he's got wins over Kane, obviously. The only man ever beat Kane. He beat Frank Mir. He beat Fabrice Verdum, Mirko Cro Cop, Mark Hunt with that weird kick that he threw. So he's going to be my other honorable mention. I'm going to throw Andrei Arlovski in there, who was the first UFC heavyweight champ, and somehow years later could possibly fight for the title once again. After that beating he put on Travis Brown. So those are my honorable mentions. Let's go on to your number five top heavyweight.
All right, I do have another honorable mention. I thought we were going back and forth, but my other one, don't pick on me. I like this guy. It's Pat Barry. All right, I'm just gonna leave it at that. It's Pat Barry. I'm just leave it at that. But my number five is gonna be Brock Lesnar. Man, he was in pro wrestling when I was getting out of pro wrestling and getting into UFC. So I actually got to watch that transition from pro wrestling into mixed martial arts, and I watched his first mixed martial arts fight, which was in some crazy organization in Japan. He totally dominated that fight and then came into the UFC and got submitted by Frank Mir. He ended up becoming the UFC heavyweight champion, beating Randy Couture, and he was a good fighter back then. And then Kane destroyed his liver and his body and just decided to kill him. And then same with Alistair Overeem. So Brock Lesnar is going to be my number five.
All right, my number five heavyweight of all time, Antonio Rodrigo Nogueira, one of the legends of the sport, one of the legends of Pride. This dude has beaten so many dudes. He beat Randy Couture, Mark Coleman, Cro Cop, Verdum, Josh Barnett, Tim Sylvia. He's the first Pride heavyweight champion from. He was a champion in fact for like 2-3 years, something like that in Pride. He's been an interim UFC champion. He's been interim Pride champion. I mean, what hasn't this guy done? Legendary career. Should call it quits as soon as possible because this dude's gotten beat up way too much recently. But definitely one of the top heavyweights of all time. Number four for you, sir.
My number four is going to be Tim Sylvia. What can you say about the Maniac? He's a monster. He beat everybody. He was one of the longest reigning heavyweight champions. He just destroyed worlds until Randy Couture just landed that one right hand and messed up his whole night. So Tim Sylvia is going to be my number four.
All right, my number four, the one and only Mirko Cro Cop. Wins over Mark Coleman. He beat Josh Barnett 3 times. He beat the Eagle, whatever his last name was. I can't even say it. Vanderlei Silva beat twice. He beat Sakuraba. Pride heavy, or he was I think Pride, the Pride Grand Prix heavyweight champion. He's got 23 wins by knockout. All right, and he's got this saying. I forgot who said it, but I wrote it down. Where is it? It says, right leg hospital, left leg cemetery.
Yep.
Okay. Who else can you say that about? You know what I mean? And so definitely one of the best heavyweights of all time. Number 3.
My number 3 is the UFC light heavyweight champion, Daniel Cormier. I like Daniel Cormier. He was an alternate in the Strikeforce tournament. He was just a random guy. It's like, hey, we're just going to throw you in. He wasn't a random, but he was a guy that got thrown into the Grand Prix, ended up winning it. I got to see his first mixed martial arts fight in Strikeforce. When he was a nobody, when no one knew about Daniel Cormier, I was watching DC, and DC is a monster. And he's not in the heavyweight division now because his best friend is champion, and now he's the UFC light heavyweight champion, the real UFC light heavyweight champion. So that's going to be my number 3.
That's right. All right, my number 3. He beat Pedro Hizo twice. He's got a win over Vitor Belfort, a win over Tim Sylvia, a win over Kevin Randleman, the 3-time UFC heavyweight champion, UFC 13 tournament champion, and UFC Hall of Famer Randy Couture. The Natural is a motherfucker. This dude, I mean, when did he retire? 47 years old? This dude fought forever, and he did it at the highest level to the very end, son. So definitely one of the best heavyweights of all time. Obviously, his natural weight was usually light heavyweight, but he fought Kevin Randleman. All right, yeah. Kevin Randleman is a huge motherfucker, huge guy, and he went down and fought, Vitor, and beat Pedro Hizo twice. And if anyone knows that Pedro Hizo, and I know Andrew Reed will know this, Pedro Hizo's leg kicks are a motherfucker, and they're the scariest things I've ever seen on YouTube ever. So, Randy Couture, he's the man. Number 3. All right, you're number 2.
Number 2, Randy Couture. You took it. You basically said everything I was going to say. Randy Couture was the first Captain America in the UFC. He was that guy that just didn't care. He was small in the heavyweight division, but he still beat everybody. He was champion, everything like that. So I'm going to go with Randy Couture. And why are you laughing?
Because Andrew Reed just hit me up and said, please tell Nick he must be on drugs to have Lesnar even near his top 5.
Wait a minute. Okay, it's my top 5, not your top 5, sir. Pat Barry was in my honorable mentions. It's my top 5, not yours.
Oh, here we go. All right. My number 2 heavyweight of all time, the current UFC heavyweight champion, Cain Velasquez. Cain Velasquez, all right, let's just look at him. Junior Santos beat him twice, and not only beat him, mauled him twice. He won the title from Brock Lesnar, beat the crap out of Antonio Rodrigo Nogueira, beat Antonio Silva, Bigfoot Silva, twice, and beat him bloody. All right, he's about to beat the crap out of Fabricio Verdum this weekend, cementing himself as the baddest man on the planet, injured or not. This guy is just a truck of a man. First Mexican heavyweight champion in any sport, including boxing, because us Mexicans are little guys for the most part, and he's just a killer, dude. And the cardio Cain, man, that dude can go forever. He's got power, he's got wrestling, he's got strike. The striking is improving every fight. That he goes through, the cardio's always been there, and the pressure that he puts on guys. It's like fighting Nick Diaz at heavyweight. Nick Diaz is the guy that puts pace on people, right? And gets them to gas out. Cain Velasquez gets you to gas the hell out and you quit. So definitely Cain Velasquez is my number 2 heavyweight of all time. All right, you're number 1, sir.
My number 1 is Kimbo Slice. No, it's Cain Velasquez.
Out of here.
What else can you say about Kimbo Slice? You basically said no. Cain Velasquez is the champion. He's the most dominant UFC champion that we've seen, heavyweight champion that we've ever seen. And even though he's injured all the time, he still comes back and destroys your world. So Cain Velasquez is my number 1, not Kimbo Slice, because really, would I really say Kimbo Slice?
I'm just going to let you know. I'm just staring at my phone because I'm waiting for Andrew Reed to rip me a new one. All right? But he will agree with my number 1. My number 1 heavyweight fighter of all time. All right? He's a guy that was deemed unstoppable until he came to the U.S. He beat Antonio Rodrigo Nogueira twice, beat Mark Coleman twice, Mirko Krokop, Andrei Arlovsky. He was a Pride heavyweight champion from 03 to 06, 04 Pride heavyweight Grand Prix champion, WA heavyweight champ. It's the one and only Fedor Emelianenko. That guy was the killer of killers in my opinion. He fought everybody. Sure, it was in Pride in Japan, where you never know what kind of supplements they could use. And some people have said, oh, well, Japan, you could have done it, and you never know, could have, because he came over here and got beat by Verdun and got beat by Bigfoot. But Fedor Emelianenko is one of those guys that no matter who you threw in there, you were waiting to see him maul somebody. Kevin Randleman, he fought Kevin Randleman, and I was just like, whoa. He fought Nogueira twice, and it's just like, you don't want to see this Russian anywhere near you. Fedor's a legend. Fedor, unfortunately, never made it to the UFC. Unfortunately, didn't come over, with the Strikeforce guys, and it really sucks. I would have loved to seen him at least once or twice in the UFC. But Fedor, my number one heavyweight. So go down your list of top 5 real quick.
All right, let me go back. It was, where'd it go? Which I didn't have Fedor on because he never touched UFC. Oh, okay. I wanted to see him touch the greatest quote unquote heavyweights of all time. But my honorable mentions were my top 5 was Brock Lesnar, Tim Sylvia, DC, Frank Mir. Not Frank Mir. Did I say Frank Mir? No, Randy Couture and Cain Velasquez. Frank Mir was on there as an honorable mention, but I didn't want to say it.
All right, my top 5. Number 5, Antonio Rodrigo Nogueira. Number 4, Mirko Krokot. Number 3, Randy Couture. Number 2, Cain Velasquez. And number 1, the one and only Fedor Emelianenko. And a little not inside joke, it's actually pretty well known at this point. Keyboard Warriors. Aaron Robbins, known as Hator Emelianenko. That tells you why we call him that. He's so good at it. Anyway, overall, pretty good show today. What do you think of? Are you watching? You're watching this weekend. Are you going out to watch? Or are you gonna buy the fights?
I'm going out to watch it. I'm more than likely going out, just chill, watch the fights, and enjoy them. The next card I'm buying is a Conor card.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to do that too because of I'm not getting no damn bar for that one. I think it's gonna be packed. It's gonna be ridiculously packed at the place where I go. So. All right, man. If you got nothing else, I don't either. Make sure you go to crossroadsmma.com. New article up. Jesse Rubalcaba, one of our writers, talks about how, or some of the flaws that he finds in the UFC's new drug testing program, some of the things he doesn't like about it. Make sure you go to the site, crossroadsmma.com, to check that out. You can follow him at SPWAT1983. Don is at CBMMA_Don. Dude writes some great shit. For sure, go to Crossroads for that one, too. Nick is at NickXMicro. I am at Elaw31. The page is at Crossroads MMA. Keyboard Warriors at Keyboard MMA. And I think I'm out of Twitter handles at this point. So, yeah, make sure you check us out. Next show will be, oh, man, are we doing one tomorrow for This Just Happened? That just happened?
We'll talk about that after the show.
All right, stay tuned. We might have one tomorrow. You never know. The next for sure will be on Saturday. Or on Friday. Damn, now I can't even schedule it right. I believe Friday we should be doing a UFC 188 pre-fight show. If not on Saturday for sure. Make sure you stay tuned to the Twitters for that announcement. We will have that up, but I for sure will be doing a preview show with one of the guys. And that's gonna be it, man. After this, yeah, I got nothing else. All right, everybody have a good afternoon. Thanks for tuning in. We'll check you guys out later.